Okay, so good morning, and I'm Deepak Mishra. As my presentation is up on the screen, you would see that today we are going to discuss accelerate application deployment with containers and OpenShift. It's a fantastic topic, and I being working on OpenShift as well as having a good amount of experience on the DevOps consulting as well as microservice consulting. I'm very excited about the topic what is being given to me, and here it goes. So what we will do is we will be spending a good amount of time understanding what is the industry application deployment scenarios and why do they need acceleration or faster time to market, and how the technology can be enabled to make sure that we get the application delivery faster and quicker. And we will also have a technical demonstration by me where we will experience how the continuous integration and continuous delivery works in a OpenShift environment. Okay, so this is your story? Definitely, this was my story a couple of years back when we, picked up OpenShift as our future container orchestration platform. But prior to this, these questions were definitely coming on our way. What are these? The developer who is expected to do the development on day zero, they face difficulties every day in assembling the right environment and to get started. Not only all the tools and artifacts are scattered, it is also not available to them on day zero. It was consuming, or it is consuming, a lot of team's effort to get these things working, right? And making sure that when you go into the production and you need to reproduce the errors, you need an equivalent environment. So lack of environment equivalence is also an issue. So what should we do? How we can enable the business with DevOps? That's the theme today. So what enables DevOps? Everybody know, and it's a buzzword, so there is not much introduction required what DevOps is, but every layman thinks that developer should continuous develop. Technology should not be the roadblock for the developer. Operations should trust the development and make sure that the code which is being pushed by the developer is being running fine and healthy and compliant and secure. If both these teams work in tandem, then the continuous integration and continuous delivery works. I will be touching upon how an organization can achieve this, but keeping it simple, you should be doing the software development no matter whether it is a large firm like Amazon or Netflix, or a small company which is a startup and doing the development, and they want to go to the market for fundraising. Instead of going all at once into the production, the suggestion is the developers should build, run the code into the environment or into the application environment, whether it is hosted on premises or onto the cloud. it should work with those small changes, so that smaller the change, lesser is the risk. You do not want a big mansion to fall on your production day. Rather, during the testing, the small changes have shown whether it has been cleared the testing or not, right? So how it is going to help? Definitely, if you want a developer to be enabled, so my 17 years of experience, the decade more long experience was a system administrator, and I have been always looking at what a developer self-service help would be. That means a developer can log in, create the project by themselves, can get a Linux environment by themselves, can get the tools for development by themselves, can scale the environment by themselves, and can also manage lifecycle the project or the environment by themselves. So that means you can do rapid prototyping. An idea came. Most of the jingles you hear today in advertisement, that okay, you have an idea, get it to the market, and there are funding available. So if your idea has come and you need that to fly, so you want your proof of concept to fly, then you require a very good factory. The factory where everybody works in a model where your development toolkit, the configuration management, the integration pipelining, the monitoring, the self-service provisioning, the environment standardization, scaling up the environment, and making sure that the project manager knows what's going on, what is the progress, what is the release cycle. The developers continuously code, and the testers continuously test, and the operator, which are the sysops engineers, they also see that health is okay. So if that's the ideal state you are expecting, and today we will prove it. So guys, please understand that the next few minutes you will spend, you will see how it really works, and it works just like a factory. Idea comes, goes through the development, configuration management, integration and monitoring pipeline, through every environment of develop, quality, UAT or PNV, and prod, keeping your project managers aware, seeing the progress, developers being aware that things are running fine, it is being expected, testers doing the continuous testing and fixing the bugs by the developer, and operation engineers also confident that everything is healthy. This is not about an individual, it is about an organization which has to drive this change. And to make this change happen, you would require a platform hosted in a very stable way, configured and managed so well that the factory do not fall, and it works 24/7. The CIO, CTO need to identify the teams which are fast mover, make a cultural shift in the organization so that organization understand that all these can happen in tandem. The processes has to be, make sure that the tools are well connected, and It doesn't go through multi-level of approvals and blockers. The consultant and the architects are involved to make sure that the tools which the company has invested are all integrated. I'm very sure you might have heard about tools which is Jira, which is Slack for project management and for communication. I'm sure you might have heard about tools like Jenkins for continuous integration and continuous delivery. Um, I'm sure you might have heard about Bitbucket, Atlassian, or GitLab, which is open source. So if you look at all these tools should be stitched, and plumbed so that it is working perfectly fine. And the operation guys should give you the technology of Linux, Docker containers, infrastructure as a service, orchestration, source control, management, and making sure that the build happens on the fly and test happens on the fly, and your project goes live within minute. So that is what a future factory we think, and most of you who have joined this must be part of that process. So to summarize, what is DevOps? It's a combination of cultural shift, process in continuous integration and continuous delivery with proper tooling, and open source enterprise technology enabled so that the software factory for automation can happen. Now, what does the business see? Business see that if I'm doing all that, is that going to fast track my application delivery? Means if a release was taking 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 6 months, can it happen in few days or few hours, or for that matter, few minutes? Can it give me the return on investment? Because definitely when you are implementing the technology, both at people, getting them trained, and adopting tools which is futuristic, and building a robust clustered multi-data center scalable platform that requires an investment. So they look at what's going to be the return on investment, how it is going to be commercial benefit, which technology we should use. Should we use OpenShift, which is today's topic, or we should use something by a vendor lock-in, which doesn't give the guarantee, but it is a huge cost, because nowadays on market you will see, okay, there are a lot of DevOps tools available. Is it something very predictable, easy to train the staff, make sure that we have a good stable environment? Then definitely that's your management is looking at. So I don't want to read this slide, but I will just pause here for a few seconds if there are any questions so far. I believe everyone is able to hear me loud and clear. In case if you have a difficulty, please check your mobile phone or laptop in case you are not able to join properly, right? I just need one remote audience to confirm that my voice is not feeble, it is audible, and the presentation you can see. Only one audience volunteer is more than enough for me.
Yeah, Deepak, all good.
Fantastic. So that means we have a tested audience, and thanks for your feedback. Now, our story begins. The context is being set. We know that we need a change. We know that the organization has already decided to put their investment because the return on investment is very, very clear. And we also know that there is a cultural shift happening. And we also know that my skills are very, very appropriate, then what stops us to take Red Hat OpenShift and do the digital transformation? So that's our core agenda today. So if you look at digitization today in country like India or the countries which is emerging in the market, then these are the four pillars. Digitization means you should be moving with agility or scale agility faster, quicker, and cost effective. Your applications should not be heavy. That means it should be more cattle than pet. Making sure that your applications are service oriented, not a heavy snowball impacted application. You do not want when there is some change required, the entire outage happens to the application. Rather, only one service which requires the change, it goes through the change process. That's nothing but lift and shift of the microservices. I wish we can do more webinar on microservice strategy, microservice approach, microservice architecture, and some use cases of microservice in future. Today, our job is to accept that that's the future. And analytics, if you look at, I'm sure if most of you are into the system operation and to the development, you would agree that, the Cloudera Hadoop, MongoDB, Cassandra, CouchDB, and so many, NoSQL hybrid databases are available on containers. And if they are available on containers, then what stops us to bring analytics, into the, service bus? So what's the advantage? I don't think I need a lot of preaching about this. Efficiency. So you get your applications go into the production with the faster agility and speed. Scalability, so you can scale. I will demonstrate that, okay, how you can scale an application today. Just please stay tuned. Self-service, I'm going to demonstrate that, okay, you yourself can do it. You don't require a system administrator if you're a developer, I'm telling. And both developer and operation to work closely, making sure that the toolings are working perfectly fine, and it is on a hybrid cloud architecture. So if you have understood, then these are the four blockers. I'm thankful, I picked this from one of the, international event of Red Hat, where it talks about what are the container patterns across an organization, and how your, focus is actually distributed. So I'm sure, okay, developers in this forum must be focusing on developing a cloud native application. This I can educate number of times, that the developers who are actually getting into the microservice, apps development, please make sure that it is cloud native, right? And the container platform is an enabler for the operations team. That means if you are a developer, you want a cloud native application, ask your operation team to give you Docker, Kubernetes, and container security. If these two things are made available, you are absolutely ready to go. But where will you deploy? Will you deploy on-prem or will you deploy on public cloud, right? Do you have a container native storage? And do you know how to manage these things on cloud as well as on-prem? So that means, okay, just make sure that, okay, you are both on-prem as well as on the cloud. And please, be in line with your business, where they take your product to the market as the mini shifts are happening. Age every feature you are releasing, it should go to the market. Look at your uh, local competition or local application development which is happening in India. There are plenty of examples in India, right? So this is how the picture looks like. The left side is your traditional application server. Take a web sphere, host your Java application, or take Oracle Fusion middleware and host your, or be a WebLogic, host your application where you have got all of these are bundled into one app server, a very big monolithic, heavy compute, you know, guzzling with, the compute in the cloud or on-prem. That's the left side. The right side is you have an OpenShift environment, which you will experience today, where every service is running as a container. So what we call them as services running on a container, and container stays in a pod. So pod is the house for multiple containers, and OpenShift knows how to orchestrate hundreds, thousands of those pods. That's the solution which we talk about, right? Okay, so you cannot do this without ready infrastructure. Probably I would ask this question to each of you. If you have decided that, or your developers have decided, or your management has decided that containerization is the journey for you, then your applications, which is customer face, interacted on mobile or web, and they need a stable platform, because you don't want the containers to be not stable and you are not able to manage them. This is definitely a concern I have heard from multiple developers. It's easy to build a containerized application on your laptop because few Docker knowledge, and you are a good Java developer. You can pretty much go and develop it. But if you do not have a container ready infrastructure, you will be in a disaster. Reason: managing thousands, hundreds of thousands of containers is not a easy job. And definitely these containers are hosted on the virtual machine or the Linux nodes. So we call them as worker nodes. And what do they need to be managed? They need to be managed when to scale. They need to be managed when to provide and how to provide the API services. They need to be managed how to operate, evacuate the containers, make sure that okay, your application doesn't fall. They need to manage that you get a DNS route, load balancer, software defined network, segregation, all that. They also need to be managed with good integration capability. They need to be managed with all that feature which an enterprise application development or enterprise application architecture looks for. If that is your goal, then you require a stable container infrastructure with container native storage as a feature, definitely multi-tenancy and secure container services, and it should be hosted on-prem as well as on the cloud. I hope there is no doubt about it. And if that is the thing, then Red Hat OpenShift is your answer. So what you see on your screen is this is a platform which gives you platform as a service, a true platform as a service. That means you can see how your things are working. right? Um, I'm going to take another 2 minutes, and we'll start the demo. So I'm going to show you how the platform as a service looks like. I have seen some of the attendees who have already attended OpenShift or have already started working on OpenShift. For them, it might be a repeat, except the continuous integration and continuous deployment or delivery. How the container as a service works, why Kubernetes is being chosen as the backend platform. It's a fantastic platform by Google, and Red Hat is the biggest contributor to it, and it is enterprise ready. So I have worked with the guys, okay, those who have been working on core Kubernetes as well as on OpenShift, and they see OpenShift as a much more advantage because it brings a lot of new features on top of Kubernetes. It's a platform which you can host on the premises, um, no matter you have one data center or multiple data center, in a multi-tenant way, making sure that it is secure. It is, you don't have any issues related to the Docker maintenance, making sure that, okay, you have absolutely segregation of your business services, and making sure that, okay, they are following the governance and control of your audit and compliance requirement. They have been receiving the container patches and the platform patches regularly, and you are being supported by the right kind of people, which is one of our key focus, right? um, so before we get into the demo, I just wanted to leave you with this thought that, please remove this from your mind that container is not secure. I know some of the IT managers do not accept this unless until they test it by themselves. I can talk in length for hours related to the container security, but please understand that this particular platform has a backend with Docker Hub. You can have a Docker private registry. You can scan the Docker images and bring it to the Jenkins to build your application. You can have a very well tested, proven, container security service architecture, which is worldwide recommended by NIST, National Institute of Technology, which promotes the standards for the container security, right? So I'm happy if there are questions, you can send it to us offline related to the risks and security which you see, or which is actually not or is holding you back, not promoting containers, but we have all that being solved already. And trust me, all of them are being solved, and there are organizations, starting from finance to telco to retail, they have already adopted this particular platform to the scale. um, the guys, those who come from Linux security background, please understand that, okay, OpenShift do not work without SE Linux, and it is a very critical component for for your multi-category security, and it understand the privilege access, and it understand how the layer security works. So it's a whole lot of things which we can discuss. That's not today's focus. Our focus is to be on the CICD, right? So summarize before I switch to the demo. Who are we? I'm a consultant. Prodavance and Crayon, who is hosting this event along with Red Hat, can help to standardize, uh, build a robust container platform. They have the great experience to bring this solution for you. you can get trained and certified as well. Okay, so with that note, if there are questions, please feel free to post it on the chat. Do not hesitate, no matter whether it is part of this webinar or it is outside of the webinar. We will try to respond as soon as possible. So let me get into the demo. So what am I going to do? I'm going to show application CICD where we will have this. Always I tell to my developers, I say that, okay, when you come to OpenShift, make sure that you get something which is already working well, right? That means what you need to worry is just get your best development effort tested here, get the Git repository and clone it here, right? Once it is being cloned, then you have got infrastructure as a code using Ansible. So we are using that. I don't know what you use, or you can do it by yourself manually. I don't mind. But since we have a very limited time, okay, we need to do justice, right? So let me switch my screen to the console. Here you go. Right. And yep. So you see my screen. Cool. So can I? Yeah, so it is little better, correct? And okay, so what I did is I will just log into my OpenShift cluster. I have logged into this. If you want to see how the cluster looks like, that also I can bring it to you. Just give me a minute. Okay. So. Yeah. Okay. So this is how my cluster looks like. And I talked about service catalog. So I live up to my promise that, okay, this is the service catalog and whole bunch of things is available to you on OpenShift 3.9, right? You have got multiple languages, so you can do the coding there and there. You have got whole bunch of databases, middleware, CICD. So we will use Jenkins today, right? And so what am I going to do, right? Okay, I'm going to clone the code which is working well. So so let me get a code. Uh, so this was already cloned, so I just deleted it. So I don't have anything with me now. If somebody is talking, please go on mute. My sincere request. So let me go to the. Okay, so I got my you know GitHub link, and I say git clone. Yep. So I have my templates, everything is ready. And what I need to do is I just need to make sure that, you know, I create some projects. So I'm going to create a dev project and a stage project and a CI/CD project. I'll be a little quick doing that. Um, okay, so I'm creating a project now. So the command is OC new project. Uh, Apologies, I'm on a multi-screen. So this is a command which OpenShift gives you in the CLI. You can do that. You know, you can give a name which is most appropriate, right? Slight typo. Come on. So yeah. So I can give the names as, you know, as short as possible, right? Okay, so if you are familiar with this command, I can just pass on a similar command for stage as well as for CI/CD. So what I did is I created three projects. Do you see three projects here, right? And CI/CD is the project which I'm going to use. The beauty of this is, okay, it gives you the you know, security off the shelf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Jenkins to do my continuous integration and continuous delivery for two of my project. One is dev and another is stage. So what I want is I need to make sure that the service account Jenkins is having access to the CI/CD project. I'm going to so what I wanted to show you is I wanted to show you the security associated with it. That means, okay, if you don't give the security, you don't you can't perform. So these are the options available here. You can do things manually. So you see a pipeline here. I don't have a pipeline created. So to shorten my time, what I can do is I can run a command which can take care of my application deployment, right? So what is that command? If some of you can help me, then that'd be good. Or I can show you that OC new app is the command to launch an application. In which project? CI/CD. And I have got a YAML template. So while it is performing the activity, I can show you what the template does. Okay. I'm just taking the template so that it takes care of everything for me, right? So I just ran this. The magic begins, right? So what do you see here? The pipeline is being created, and if I go to CI/CD and go to the overview, okay, do you see that? Okay, Gogs is getting created, Jenkins is getting created, SonarQube is getting created, Nexus is getting created. Wow, beautiful. So this really looks nice. And if you want, to go back, and I will explain you the you know um, the flow, then what it is doing is it is actually creating a GOG application which is running on container to take care of code version control. Then SonarQube which does the code review. Then Nexus, which is actually your repository where your build artifacts will be stored, and Jenkins is going to do the container image creation using the build config. So there is a Groovy script we have passed to Jenkins, and that actually does both building your container image and deploying it into the dev environment. The test will go on, and what it will do is once your dev goes live, it will wait so that you approve, then only it promotes it to stage. You can do that for production also. And once you approve, then it will do the deployment to the stage. So that is how the flow is going to be. Okay, so let's see what is going on here. I said, okay, the magic has begun, so I can go and open my GOGs. Wow. Okay, so GOG. The username is GOGs and password is, I'm not going to tell. You can find it by yourself. So I have cloned this from somebody, as I said, okay, where it is working fine. Then I said I'm going to have Jenkins. So Jenkins is still getting up. So I just wanted to give you some insight here that the Jenkins build is going on. So the developer need to make sure that, okay, you have little patience because you are constructing a whole infrastructure, right from scratch, right? So your pod is getting built, and you can see that the events are demonstrated here. So you can see, okay, how your container is being getting created, right? um, and once it comes dark blue, then your Jenkins is up. So you see the artifacts here coming up. So this is all coming from Hakular metrics. So Hakular is the service engine which actually gives you the metrics, and you have got Nexus, so you can open Nexus as well. So let's see Jenkins. Wow, so the Jenkins is up, and I'm just checking, if I can log in using my OpenShift credentials. It is, by the way, supports OAuth. So this particular project is integrated with OAuth. So I'm going to use my OpenShift credentials to get into the Jenkins. That means it is again a security feature, right? Nexus, it is still not up. You just need to see what is coming after whom. So I can show you that it is doing a rolling deployment. I can see the events, right? And it sees that, okay, it is unhealthy. It is doing a readiness check, right? So let it come up, right? And you have got SonarQube. We will see, okay, oh, SonarQube is up. So SonarQube is for your code review. So the code which I picked it, from a working, solution. Let me log into SonarQube. So user is admin, password, you can figure it out by yourself. It's a default password, right? I'll skip this tutorial. So the code which is going to be built here, once it is being available, right, you would see that the quality of the code is being produced here. So that's going to be a very good metrics. Okay, and Nexus is still not up, and yeah, so Nexus, yeah, it's still getting built. Oh wow, so the matrices has come, right? So this is the fantastic feature, right? Okay, and you see a up arrow, down arrow, you can scale up. So that means you can create as many number of pods. That means, okay, if you have one pod is not sufficient, you can just scale up. You don't require any administrative skills for doing that. Okay, so Nexus, So it's just coming up. Wow, it's ready and it's doing exactly how I expected, right? And I need to sign in here as well, right? And the username is admin. Password, as I said, okay, you can figure it out because I'm using default password here. And yes, so I'm building a JBoss application. So I'm getting my JBoss, code is going to be stored here once the builds are being done. So I'm just keeping it here so that you can see what is going to happen once my, okay, so let's go back and see. So my environment is ready. So CICD project is ready. My environment is ready. What other project I have? I have a dev, right? So what does the dev project is going to be? Dev is going to be my target environment where my application is going to be hosted, right? So if you remember the so just look at here, your dev is going to be the place where your Jenkins is going to host your application, right? So my dev environment is ready. I just need to trigger my pipeline, right? I need to trigger my pipeline. So I will come here and go to the pipeline, and here you can run the pipeline or go to Jenkins, right? And as I said, CICD is my project, and CI/CD task pipeline is the so I can start my build with parameter. So please understand that it has automatically taken the project name, dev, and stage. So I can just click on the build and my build will start. Jenkins has got one more tool called OpenBlueOcean, which actually gives you a little, better insight. So this is from your project manager perspective. Anybody who acts as a project manager can see how your release is happening, right? So my build has started. My build has started as I speak, right? Because I have said, I'm just refreshing it. Yes, the build has started, right? It shows that build has started. And on my, on my Jenkins OpenBlueOcean, right? Um, I could see that, okay, the status is showing something. So I can click and it shows that, okay, it pulled it from Git. And as you know that, okay, it it uses a pom.xml for Maven to do the build. So there is a Maven build is going on, right? And you can see the progress of Maven build, right? And at the same time, here, um, in OpenShift also you can see. So it is it is quite evident that all that you have expected is just working very, very well. So your app build is going on. So OpenShift is giving you statistics, Jenkins is giving you statistics, and your Blue Ocean is also giving you statistics. Fantastic, right? So this process will go on as I expected in my configuration. So what my configuration has, Jenkins is a pre-configured pipeline which I'm using here. So you can configure your own Jenkins pipeline in the CI/CD project. And when I trigger the build, the pipeline has actually started, right? And what it is doing is the task pipeline, Jenkins is creating the pods, okay, and going to deploy the application into the dev environment. Then it will promote to the stage environment. Okay, so let's see what's going on in SonarQube. Is there any change? Not yet, because I haven't got my build yet, right? So once my build is here, I can see that. and my build app is going on, it would take exactly 7 to 8 minutes for the first time, because we are doing all that from scratch. I understand that, okay, you would acknowledge I didn't had anything when I started. If you want to see how command line you can, if you guys are OpenShift administrators, then OC is the command. You can say get project, it will show you the project. Then you can say OC get pod. As I said, pod is the definition we are using for containers to be hosted, and inside CICD project, what is going on, right? And inside my dev project, what is going on, right? So inside my dev, I haven't got anything yet because my builds are not complete yet. So once my pod has been constructed in dev, I can show you what is going on here. Um, I have one more, so hold on. Yep. So you can, there was a typo. So this is another command, okay, which you can use to see the URL. So you can pick up the URL from here. If you don't want to go to OpenShift or you hate the user screen, right? Okay. So what's okay? The test is going on. So test is going on means I do see Nexus, right? So can I go and check in Nexus? Okay, so right, okay, and is going on. So while this is happening, let me give you a quick overview of how we do things for different customers, right? Look at this example. So this is a typical production solution for a customer, where Gogs or Git you can use. We are just overshoot by 2 minutes. Just be there for another 5 minutes or so. So the number one is your project management is Jira. You can integrate Jira here. You can update your story, epics, and your development things into Jira. And your source control system is Git or Bitbucket, and your build is Jenkins. You can use alternate Bamboo. Here we are using Maven. So Jenkins is the pipeline. We are using Maven to build. And your code review is SonarQube. We are using SonarQube here. And instead of Artifactory, we are using Nexus here. So that's your number 4. And number 5, I'm using a YAML file. I didn't use the Ansible Tower. It's a very powerful product, but just think everything I'm doing so automatic. That means I have written all that in an YAML config file. So my config manager is Ansible. And my environment is hosted on OpenShift, running Dockers, hosted on AWS. That means this is a absolute scene or scenario how your production goes live. Okay, so the question is coming: how do you see the networking, right? Definitely, I can, I can explain, a bit of networking if the time permit. Um, so keeping that in mind, that um, we will have a lot of sessions related to networking. Let me tell you that OpenShift has a different plugin to handle the networking. So one of the popular one is multi-tenant. So um, so in your OpenShift architecture, you just need to select the proper network policy, which is OVS multi-tenant or OVS network policy, and you can also see how the pods are being, how the projects and pods are being segregated. Um, you know, so that is also being taken care quite well, and so that also I can explain if the time permits. Um, any other questions? Let me see. Uh, I'll just show you one quick one, so which actually definitely enlighten you. I don't have the permission to list all the namespaces. Otherwise, okay, I can show the CNI, Container Network Interface, and that's the distinguished feature of your OpenShift, right? Okay, so yeah, so cool. My development is being done. Here you would see that um, it is asking me to promote. So if you remember in my um, you know flow, I have mentioned that I'm going to promote only through an approval. And this is my task pipeline you see here. So my CICD has been successfully executed. The total time it took in each of the stages is clearly mentioned. As I said, my Jenkins pipeline was very, very helpful to show how things have moved. Then I also have mentioned that, okay, I have a better way to explain, okay, how these things have worked. And my Nexus also need to be under Maven snapshot. So under Maven snapshot, I have got my JBoss application, got built, and the packaging is being kept here, right? So that's what that was done by Maven, and my code review. Um, yes, so you see that what has been passed, and uh, what is not so good. Okay, what are the security vulnerability, and so on and so forth. Um, Okay, so can you get access to see the, so the YAML file which I used is something here called a template. It's definitely a big file. You can variabilize it. You need to learn Ansible to do that. So Ansible is a powerful, YAML way of coding. You can do that so that all that you would have done command line is being done inside this playbook. Okay, fine. So how about my application? So what did the end result? I think, okay, guys, you must be interested knowing that as well, right? Um, so I just need to show you what has been constructed inside my dev. So my dev application is, I did not do routing, I did not do DNS registration. My app is running here. I can pass the load. Okay, I have also told you that, okay, when I'm running an application, it is running in a pod. So I can show you that um, the dev pod. Earlier it was blank. Now you have got the application running. Okay. What was also promoted to the stage? So I can show you that as well. Okay. Yeah. So there was a typo. Okay. So you see my application is running in stage. Can I scale? I think that also we did talk about. So OC, if you need to scale your pod, right? So it's a scale. Uh, so you will use the deployment config to do the scale. Those who are not technical, please don't get panic. What we are doing here, but I just want to explain that scaling is something which is a beautiful feature of a container orchestrator. So my replica is 3, so that means I will have 3 pods. Okay, so it's not tasks. It says my deployment config tasks not found. Okay. Okay, so I did scale when I mentioned my, so I want to show you that the scaling really works. So my dev project, do you see here 3 pods? It was 1 pod earlier, right? So now my application is actually running with this particular application where I'm generating the load. It is running with 3 pods. You can scale like this as well, and your matrices, it shows pretty nice, right? Correct. You want to scale down, you can do it graphically. You need not learn command line, but I'm just showing. Or let me scale further, right? So how about 10, right? So you can scale to the required number. Do you see here? It is saying scaling to 10. Fine. So that was what I expected you to understand, with the container orchestration architecture. So let me quickly summarize. What did we do? I got you an introduction of Red Hat OpenShift container platform. We understood that the project management and controlling access to OpenShift is essential, right? That means you have been given access to edit and manage the pod, right, using OCIDM. We created the Jenkins, and Jenkins is running as a container. So we created the CICD project where the pods are like Jenkins, Maven, SonarQube, as well as your, what else? Gogs, okay, Nexus. All of them were created. We created a dev project to launch an application. We created a pipeline using Jenkins to trigger OpenShift build. I used a YAML, which is Ansible, and we did the deployment. And I have shown you application scale out. Isn't that what you expected in this webinar? And thank you. Thanks for joining in today. I'm sure that this was a very productive time for me. I'm honestly looking forward to have your feedback, in terms of email or on the message, or in any other form or medium. You can reach out to us so that we can educate and bring more and more such solutions and services to you later. Okay, do I have a voucher to for you to do the certification? This is what I'm hearing. Please send an email. My team, who is actually organizing, they can take a call. I'm not a sponsor of this particular webinar, so they can suggest you what is the best way you can get your training and education done. I'm more, from the consulting perspective. I can help you, if your organization need anything. How to automatically build process start without hit on build process. Okay. So as I said, things were written in YAML. I didn't want to scare you on this webinar, but definitely, you can do that manually as well. Did I miss any questions? Okay, so my email ID, yep, so that's something which I should have done it. Okay, so that's and I also wanted to leave you with Maran's email ID. Maran, if you can ping on the chat, that would be good. Or so Maran is a so he's a organizer for this webinar, so you can keep these two information, right? Okay, so if there are no more questions, we can wind up this webinar. Thank you again for taking out time on Friday. And we will sincerely look forward to bring a lot of new series of webinar like Ansible, OpenStack, OpenShift networking, OpenShift architecture and administration in future. I would sign off here. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for this excellent presentation. Thank you.
Most welcome.